Hello and welcome to Temple of Akasha, the home of embodied spirituality with me, Natasha. So it's really late at the moment. I don't normally film videos at night, but I'm feeling inspired. I hope I don't waffle out a pile of crap and that there's something of value in this for you. I want to talk about the breakdown being the breakthrough. There is a collective process unfolding right now, which has been unfolding and is unfolding. It's a continuous process, but I'm really noticing, feeling, witnessing this shift, which is quite uncomfortable, where we are shedding a skin. We are moving through another spiral of the ascension. We are moving through another revolution of our awakening process. And what often happens when we are moving from one thing to another is that there is breakdown. Okay, there is a dissolution of the old to make space for the new. This is echoed throughout time and space. All of nature mirrors this to us. When we look at the seasons and the cycles in nature, when we look at the death and birth process of us and the animal kingdom, of life in general, everything moves in cycles, in waves, in ebbs and flows. We move from blossoming, blooming to dissolution, death, and the process begins again. And when we are in the dissolution part of our life process and experience, the breakthrough is on its way at that point, or potentially on its way. And what will so often happen when we are in the midst of a breakdown is we will get really compelled to lock into the old conditioning. We will get really consumed in the old stories. We will get really caught up in identifying with the emotions that come from that conditioned response to your experience. So I'll give my example. I am moving through instability again with my housing situation, financially. And of course, the conditioned response to those situations is to go into fear, into panic, into scarcity, into lack mentality. The breakthrough comes when we are aware of the conditioned responses to the breakdowns, which are inevitable, to the death and dissolution process of this cyclical life experience. When we become acutely aware of that, and we witness it instead of getting lost in it, instead of getting consumed by it. When we witness that the death and dissolution is inevitable in some capacity, the relationship that we have stayed in for too long, that has been, just tearing at our soul, when it dissolves and it's painful, that is a necessary part of the process so that we can create space for a love that really fulfills us. When we lose a job or leave a job unexpectedly, that temporary lack of stability, certainty, is creating space potentially for more alignment. When we are in moments of instability, perhaps financially or with our housing situation, again, the breakdown is providing space, reflection, opportunity for growth, innovation, creativity, alignment. It's providing space for the breakthrough, for the flourishing, for the blossoming, if we have the awareness to meet the breakdown with conscious awareness. So I want to mirror this back because I'm really feeling for myself, but also very much collectively, that there is this shedding of the skins happening right now. It's this, it feels quite uncomfortable, and it's not a quick process. It's feeling like, oh God, like I can feel that change is happening. I can feel that there's a shift happening. And maybe some of the ways in which that shift is happening is quite brash, and it doesn't feel comfortable to the human. And yet it's inevitable. We are evolving. We are awakening. We are ascending. Consciousness will continue to seek to know itself consciously, with awareness. We cannot stop this process. And so we can continue to fight the breakdown. We can continue to fight against the natural ebbs and flow of life and create a tremendous amount of suffering for ourselves, or the golden opportunity is to recognize that the breakdown, can we trust that the breakdown is a necessary part of our soul evolution, collective evolution? Can we trust that the breakdown is creating space for that which is going to truly nourish us, is creating space for more truth, more love, more alignment, more integrity? Can we recognize that the way we exit this really despairing spiral of I'm in breakdown, things are dissolving, it's all going to go to shit, and then we end up in like misaligned situations again, the way out of that limiting pattern is to witness the limitations that arise during the breakdown. So for example, for me, instability with my housing situation, major instability with my finances, things not going according to plan. Okay, so my mind had a little scenario mapped out with how things are going to move in the next couple of months. Things are not going according to that plan. The limitations arising, the limited stories, narratives that are popping up want me to, are compelling me even to cling to lack, fear, scarcity, and be reactive in the way that I respond to this situation. It's really like fight or flight energy that's arising. It's really that base root destabilized energy that's arising and being cleared, right? That real primal fear. And I'm witnessing all of that. And I'm noticing that all the other times I've been in this situation, because I've been in chaos and instability for most of my life, I got so consumed by it. And I'm noticing that there is an awareness and a faith and a trust that is present in my field, and it's subtle, that is guiding me to say, Natasha, can you notice this pattern? Can you notice this death and rebirth process? Can you choose to approach it differently? Can you choose in this moment when you feel like your stability is being taken from you, when you feel most vulnerable, can you choose to continue to act and live from faith and your heart, to continue to know that you are perpetually supported by spirit? Can you continue to sink in to your spiritual practices and states that allow you to receive guidance? Can you continue to do whatever you need to do to affirm positive, inspiring, empowering messages to the mind and the subconscious mind? Can you continue on the soul aligned path in spite of the material circumstances? And can you trust that in doing that, the breakdown becomes the breakthrough to another upwards revolution of the spiral of ascension? That the breakdown is an opportunity, not necessarily, it may present challenges, but we don't need to perceive it as a challenge. So this kind of links into my last video about stories, the stories we tell ourselves. But it's really recognizing that there is such divine wisdom in the disillusion process when we are sometimes being forced. It feels like that at the moment, that we're being confronted with stuff that maybe we would have just chosen not to deal with. I'm feeling that January has been like a crashing back down to earth, or perhaps even just a landing in our very earthly human reality of all the stuff that maybe we've been avoidant of, or even that we haven't truly attended. Like, we haven't been attending to the foundations. It's like now, especially because I've been saying this in the last couple of Ascension Update videos, we've been in this Taurus North Node energy. So our collective destined path has been all about stability, safety, love, money. And we're still in that energy, and it's kind of going to be coming to the close when we enter spring in the Northern Hemisphere. It's like we are being asked to get really firm in our foundations, in the foundations of our consciousness, in the foundations of how we move through this life experience. And so we will continue to attract and experience situations that mirror back our subconscious beliefs, our subconscious content, until we clear it, until we witness it, until we move through it with awareness. So if you are going through disillusion, instability, I'm also feeling like a real fogginess right now. And I think that this feels like the energy in January as well, like a real lack of clarity. Like I'm not sure how or where or to move, if to move at all. That's partly because we've had multiple planets in retrograde for a while. And I think now all planets are going direct astrologically, which means that for the first time in a while, I think for the next, I don't know, half a year or so, we've got, maybe less, we've got all planets moving forwards, moving in their kind of aligned, on their aligned path. This is going to provide us with more forward momentum. We may not be feeling the effects of that yet, but we will. And another thing I want to mention, this is becoming an ascension update, and I wasn't planning on it being, but it's just coming through. The other thing I want to mention is, let me feel into this. For those of you that have been experiencing a lot of internal shifts, I know that from October, the eclipse portal to now, so much has shifted within me. Like, I know I've moved through so much content, so much programming. I've moved vibrationally, things have really shifted for me internally. I'm seeing it in my perceptions, I'm seeing it in my relationships. I can feel this shift, but my external reality is not mirroring the perhaps more positive and empowered space that I'm in internally yet. And so this kind of leads on from the breakdown to the breakthrough message that I'm sharing today. We have to recognize that the 3D reality takes time, because it's very dense down here. It takes time to catch up with the energetic shift. So in that space between your vibrational shift and your material shift, can you stay in faith and trust? That's our biggest lesson in this life. That when we continue to do the inner work, when we continue to live from the heart, live soul aligned, live in complete faith and trust, can we trust that in those moments of limbo, where it doesn't look like anything is shifting in our favor, so to speak, or feeling more aligned and easeful, can we trust that it's coming? Can we trust that when we are truly, really, truly doing the inner work and our vibrational frequency is increasing, can we trust that it's inevitable, that our reality catches up with us eventually? But it will take time for that to manifest, land, ground in our 3D reality. So again, I'll use my example. I can feel that internally over the last couple of months, I've gone through a tremendous shift in my outlook, my perception, my levels of faith. I can feel for the first time that my field is being fortified energetically with faith, with love, in a way that I've never experienced before. But there's a lag in my reality, right? Right now, I'm feeling more abundant than ever, actually. But right now, I'm not experiencing material abundance. It would be easy to fall into lack, scarcity mentality at this point and saying, it's useless. I'm always going to be in poverty. I'm never going to have stability. I'm always going to be in chaos. But the breakdown, i.e. my housing situation dissolving, my monetary situation being unstable, is creating space for the breakthrough. I don't know what the breakthrough looks like yet, but I'm starting to get little nudges about how I can be a co-creator of the breakthrough. I'm starting to get creative urges. I'm starting to get insights around how I've been avoidant, and actually that this is creating space for me to be less avoidant in my work, because I've been avoiding putting myself out there, doing more coaching, energy work. I've been thinking about an ebook for a while. I've been avoidant of putting myself out there, right? And I've been like hanging back, and I've been wanting to just stay in this little house in the Cotswolds and ignore my purpose and mission, really, and just put out the odd YouTube video, right? And it's like life is like, no, like you're here to show up and to be abundant in that. And so this breakdown that appears to be happening in my reality, where there seems to be less stability than ever, is actually providing opportunities for a truly expansive and empowering breakthrough, if I can witness it with awareness, which I'm doing my best to do. Don't always stay in that empowered state, but when we're in these breakthrough cycles, it's really just having the awareness to catch ourselves when we're in limitation, when we're in scarcity, when we're in lack, and noticing like that's a program. That has been a story that may have been running looping for a very long time through our own soul lineage and through our ancestry, that our past and what we've experienced previously does not determine what we can create, attract, experience in the future. It only means that if we continue to identify with the limitation. So it's our conscious approach to this that really creates what we experience. Do we want to experience something new? Then we have to be willing to step beyond, to act beyond, to feel beyond the limitation programming, and trust that the breakthrough is coming, and to continue to feel our way to the breakthrough, to stay connected to the heart and to not get identified with the mind and all of its it's going to have like a lot of stimulation when we're in fear. There's going to be a lot of mental activity, and we're going to be really trying to be pragmatic and think our way out of our situations, how we can try and create safety and stability when we're in that fear mode. The divine invitation is to just notice that that's all just habitual, that's normal as a fear response, but it doesn't have to govern the way. The heart can still lead the way in these times. Can we be anchored in the heart and in trust during the breakdown, and know that that is going to take us to the breakthrough? So 1616, I think that's my divine invitation to sign off today. I hope you're doing really well. This was a spontaneous video, but I hope it serves whoever watches it. I'm wishing you guys all the best. We are in a really interesting time energetically. I almost can't put it into words, but I feel that there is a breakthrough coming. And it's our job on this path as light workers, as starseeds, of those of us that came for Mission Earth, to stay on mission more than ever now. This is the time when we are really needed to stay on mission, to stay in faith, to continue to align ourselves to a high vibration as much as possible. Not to be in denial of that which feels difficult and uncomfortable and painful. I'm not saying to bypass. I'm saying to, from a space of love, compassion, gentleness, tenderness, hold the aspects of you that are struggling, and also know that your struggle does not define you.